Thank you, everyone. So I don't have a preordained plan today, so I'm kind of open for suggestions of things to search with. But just so while we're here, that at the top there, as you can probably see, is the URL. This search is publicly available. It is, as it were, in a prototype stage. So if you come to it on one particular day and it's not working, that may happen. That means that colleagues at the library here are doing some work under the bonnet, and it'll be back up again relatively soon. But it is there. It's free to use, and actually, and I'm sure colleagues here will be very, very interested to have feedback and impressions of it as and when you use it. So. So just to illustrate the one of the points that was made earlier on about the amount of data that we're talking about, I'm just going to do a very, very simple search. But before I do that, I just want to draw your attention to this thing here, which is to say that actually there's an option to toggle between two modes. I am now in what's known as it's slightly counterintuitive. But I'm now in what's known as a sample mode. That's to say this will give me results from a random sample of the data. I think it's around about probably a quarter, and this speeds the search time up. And now I'm back again in the full mode, which researches the whole data set. And so but I'll stay now in full mode, and I'm going to search for the term Eurosceptic. So here we go. So it does take. So I should say that actually this is possibly the largest full text index of Web Archive in existence. In world terms, and so a search term of 3 or 4 seconds is actually pretty good for what's going on under here. There's some very sophisticated IT work going on underneath to make that stand up. So I've searched for the term Eurosceptic, and I've got a small and manageable number of results. Right, there we are, 220,000. So I'm thinking that my search strategy and my query strategy is going to have to change slightly for this. The other thing to throw in here that actually there is no prioritization in these results. What you don't have under the bonnet here is a Google algorithm deciding which it thinks is the most relevant occurrence of the term Eurosceptic for your purposes. So actually that isn't on offer, and so actually we need to think about other ways of doing it. So I'm thinking that actually that's not going to be enough for me. So let me go to the advanced search. So can someone So let me think. Can someone shout out a term that I think I might search for in conjunction with the term Eurosceptic? Farage. Okay. Farage. Here we go. How many words apart do you think this should be? You can set this so you can get a very, very close match, or really quite a wide match. 50 words. Okay. Eurosceptic, and with 50 words of the term Farage. Farage can't mean anything else, right? Hopefully.
That's not quite true.
Oh, okay. Well, we may be about to find out. There we go. So, search. It does, doesn't it? So that's a slightly more complex query, so it takes a little bit longer. So you've got 2,181 results, or thereabouts. That's actually not a bad amount of material, really, compared to what you might read over the course of a whole PhD period. You know, that might not be too bad. However, so let's think about whether we can't do some more with this. So we search for Eurosceptic and Farage. Should we exclude any terms? What should we junk out of this? Richard.
Well, it should limit it down. Take out UKIP.
Take out UKIP. Okay. So you want to Eurosceptic and Farage before UKIP is formed. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see how that goes. Here we go. And also perhaps UK Independence Party. So the double quotes being the operator for a full. I think that should work for a phrase. I'm hoping this is going to work. Hang on a minute. Okay.
Have you killed it?
No, I don't. Well, I hope I haven't killed it. Is it still going? Let's try. So let's try. Let's restack that up again, but do it slightly more simply. Eurosceptic, Farage. within, what did we said, 50, didn't we? There we are. But I'll just go without UKIP this time. I think it might not have liked the phrase. So there we are. I'm going to stack it up again, see whether, and abandon that one. Try this one. Here we go. Actually, I can, can't I? Hang on.
You open it again.
Yeah. So while that's doing that, there are various other options. We looked briefly at proximity. It's proximity there we've dealt with. None of the words. Where it gets interesting is the date range. So bearing in mind again that we're talking about material captured, that's the harvested at a certain date, not the publication date. Worth stressing again, mistake that many people often make. That's actually pretty useful. It's got a date picker, which is actually not always very helpful at the minute. But say I wanted to do between, there you are, and to date. Hang on, to date. So I can put in a date range. I can also limit something to, so a host, domain and public suffix. This is worth spelling out. Within a BBC context, a host may be news.bbc.co.uk or opinion.bbc.co.uk or any other of those hosts. The domain itself is bbc.co.uk. And actually, or at a public suffix level, it could actually just be .co.uk. So let's go with that here. So those are the various options. You can filter by individual file format if that's useful. So if you're interested actually in particular document types, you can search for just the PDFs, and so on and so forth. So those are the main ones which I think are most useful to you. Have we got now? We have.
If you know the URL, you can just do the URL.
Yes, that's not working at the minute, but I can't demonstrate it. But yes. So there we are. So this has worked. So we searched for Eurosceptic and Farage within 50 words of each other and excluding the words UKIP, and we got 514. Well, that's actually not too bad. So if we have a look at the filters then, on the left-hand side, you've got a little bit of a mapping, a little bit of indication of where a lot of this content is occurring. And so here, out of those 500 and, what did we say they had? 514. 514, you've actually got 503 of them are HTML pages, which is as you'd expect. The bulk of the content is delivered in HTML. Other formats being 21. Much of it is in .co.uk. Some of it is in .org.uk. Not much else, actually. So that's interesting. Not much ac.uk in there. The top domains is, not surprisingly, look quite media organisation related. BBC, Guardian, Telegraph, and there you are, Spectator and so on. So I'm intrigued to see eChurch websites. I might have to follow that up myself. But also, I'm pretty sure that Europe.org.uk is a pro-European organisation. Was that right, Richard? Okay. So there you are. So you have what will probably be quite positively, or rather, pro-European. That's to say, anti-Farage stuff in here. This is likely to be more neutral. You can also see which are the domains to which the resources which mention Eurosceptic and Farage are linking out to, and that actually becomes quite interesting a little bit later on.
And you can, of course, double-click on those and just get those results.
Yes, you can. So I'm going to add some of those in a minute now. So let's say let's have a look at the ones that are in Europe.org.uk, shall we? So clicking on that should then filter down. So we should hopefully end up with 15 individual results for Eurosceptic and Farage, and 50, not including you, all within that domain. There it is.
I'm just looking at the data line by line there. You can see some of the, not the problems, but just the nature of the data there.
Yeah.
So they all have the same title,
Yep.
which is interesting. Is it the fact, it won't be the fact, you're correct me, it won't be the fact that it's literally the same page, because that should have been duplicated in theory, right? So these aren't just instances of crawls of exactly the same page.
So there may be instances of the same page, but it may not be identical each
In
time.
fact, it won't be.
I'm not. Yes, I think not.
It shouldn't be identical.
Yeah.
So it's not like you look at 10 copies of exactly the same. Well.
Well, so
literally, it's not.
it may not be literally absolutely the same, but it,
Stop.
yeah, if a full stop has changed, or it's got a different scrolling ad at the bottom, or it's got a different, or the time stamp has changed in the bottom corner, which it will have done, then actually, as far as the machines are concerned, the technology by which you check whether something is the same or not will deem that it's changed. It is possible to know that it hasn't changed very much, but that computationally that's a good deal more difficult, and that's not implemented here yet, although it could be.
Can you put this for CSV? I mean, it says CSV at the.
Yes.
So if you did in that format, would it be easier to see where the overlaps are, or where the repetitions are?
All right. So what you get CSV wise is nothing at all.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So what the CSV is the list of results, not the content itself.
Yeah.
So what you get out is title European Commission, crawl date January the 1st, 2008. I think also a field for just the domain, and then you get a link to where the content is held over in the Internet Archive.
And I suppose what I meant is that would allow somebody using these results to very rapidly like reorganize them and cut out repetitions or apparent repetitions.
Yes, yeah, indeed. So this is not a brilliant example. What you can do over here is once you've got your list of results, you can start to exclude things. So I might have decided that this one's too. I might actually have decided that 2007 is too early for what I'm interested in, and so I might, if I go through and select all the various instances for 2007, well, there's some of them anyway, and go Action, Exclude. That should then dump those out of my results. But it removes one of the filters. But at least it has excluded those three. At least I'm going to have to reapply the filter for Europe.org.uk. So that's a bug. But either way, there are ways and means of doing this. As I've come back out of that, maybe I'm not very interested in Richard Corbett, and so I can opt to exclude the whole of that host. So not just this individual result from richardcorbett.co.uk, but actually the whole lot. So out he goes. We should bring it down again. And so you notice there's a narrative of what I'm doing at the top here, so you can see what's applied. And if I want to reintroduce any of those, I can actually click them off using these icons here.
And does that then get reflected in the URL? I mean, that's a search URL, the exclusions become a different term.
Yeah, it's all, so all of this, you can't see it because it's so very, very long, but all of that is all expressed in here. All of these exclusions and filters and the whole lot. So this gets very, very long. So let's start. What else shall I apply? Sorry. Oh, crawl. Yeah. Okay. No. Okay. Well, let's tell you what. Let's show. So, just someone. Let's. I'm going to say we'll start again. Will someone want to someone have a burning question that we should start investigating here, and we can work on it collaboratively? In the.
Like do ukulele?
Yeah.
Okay. So what? So I let's have a go. I think and it's ELE. It's that, isn't it? No.
Usually it's a U after the K.
Oh, right. Okay.
It's also sometimes spelled like that.
Right. Okay. Well, let's try that one first. So let's see whether we get a useful number of results in here.
You haven't tried this before, have you?
No. Okay. So only 245,000 individual results. So I'm thinking we're going to have to do something about that. What's the particular context? Let's only have the ones in 2001. Yeah, that brings it down a bit. One thing. It's necessary to manage people's expectations about getting precisely the result you want off a single shot, because that's not really going to happen. And something that's come out of the Buddha project very clearly was that actually quite a lot of the inquiries that people have been doing have been small pieces of work which they've built up a selection of kind of data points of their own in order to kind of infer things across a whole field by a set of different inquiries. So that looks like it might be a specialist site of some sort. I'm just wondering whether actually there isn't anything here that we could exclude. say for the sake of argument, you're not actually very interested in ukuleles in the media. So let's get rid of bbc.co.uk, shall we? Take out the whole domain, the whole host rather. There we are.
So you can see it's,
Oh.
it's a rather, you're going through an
That's wrong.
iterative process
Yeah.
to,
Okay. So I'm trying to think. What else should we? So again, let's say I'm not at the minute. I'm only at the minute interested in individual individual persons and small organisation sites, and not the media. So let's get rid of the independent. Let's try that. Okay. So the numbers are coming down really quite gradually there. Should we? So. What? How else could we filter this? What else could we? What could we exclude from this? Do you think?
Looks like eBay is still there.
yeah, eBay's on domains.
Sure. So I can deal with that. So have we decided we need to exclude eBay?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me first then apply the filter for eBay, and then I can exclude them all. Okay. So lots and lots of eBay. Let's say I'm going to exclude this host. There we go. Okay. Right. Okay. So that's quite revealing. So excluding eBay has taken out the vast bulk of the result, which is quite interesting in its own right. So now you have 32. Oh no, sorry.
I think you were just looking at eBay for a while, so.
All right. Okay.
You were just, yeah. So now you got the non-straight eBay, you've got the other bits. Yeah.
Oh yes. Sorry. All the other bits of eBay. Yeah. Okay. Fine. It's all the rest of it eBay. Hang on. Hang on
You
there.
just looked at eBay. So you ended up.
Yeah, georgeformby.co.uk, which makes perfect sense, right? So what I think I've hopefully just done is having excluded the host, that particular part of the eBay site, I'm now taking off the filter that makes sure that only looks for them in order to be able to see everything else, right?
Peter, while it's running through,
Yeah.
this is the Shine interface is going to be the future interface for the combined search, isn't it, for the UK web?
So the
And okay, that's one question. The second question is, it's still under development, so it is under change and things like that. I don't know whether you want to say anything about that. If
So although I'm not a member of, I as not a real member of BL staff, will be working for the BL for the next 6 months or so, continuing to iron out bugs and fixes and enhancements to this so working with the BL's development team. I'm kind of the user go-between for this for a while. So as I said before, this is a prototype. It's still continuing to develop. The data won't change, but the interface itself will do. And actually, it in theory improves, but it will certainly subject to change. So that's worth bearing that in mind. So anyway, we're now down to 1368. Shall we plump for one which we think is particularly important? Let's actually look at everything in George Formby, shall we? No, sorry. No, right. So we're now looking for everything in the results that links to georgeformby.co.uk. So that's the links domains. So we have 72 individual results, roughly, and that's the top few of them, which link to out to George Formby. So you see what I mean? So what you can start to do is to stack up a number of different filters that actually relatively quickly bring down your results to quite manageable proportions. And then when it works, which it really should do, but when it works, there's a CSV output of those results which you can then take and further refine. So, Richard, I'm thinking that we're probably, how are we doing for time?
Yeah, well, so I don't know if there's anything else.
Is there anything else that anyone wants to
in regards to Well, we were just briefly showing you in terms of the interface.
Just out of interest, does it only recognise English words? Or does it recognise any word put in any language?
Well, it's any string of characters.
Right, okay.
So in a sense, let me let's clear that. Let's say sorry.
HEDLU, H-E-D-D-L-U, isn't that Welsh for police?
It is indeed. Right. So yeah, so it means it's not language sensitive. It's just any string of characters. So that's why when it looks for when it looks for mind, it doesn't it doesn't know. And actually, mind is a German word as well, I think, as well as an English one. And so there's no distinction there.
And we can do that with a telephone number as well.
Yes. Again, any string of characters. Oh yeah, 72,000 of the Welsh word for police. One thing you haven't done previously, there is also, you could actually search for postcodes again. So that's my postcode.
Yeah, whose postcode?
That's my postcode. So let's see if anything interesting is to be found about Fishbourne in West Sussex.
Bodies found at the patio.
Sorry.
Bodies found at the patio.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's all sorts of stuff in there, which can mean many things. So it might just be that actually a listing of Travelodges actually is a reference to the one that there is. So all sorts of, but I only do that just to demonstrate that actually any string of characters is within will find. It doesn't know what it doesn't. The interface doesn't try to make any sense of what you're asking it. So in that sense, it just delivers a string of characters as you want. I'm going to search for David Cameron, and I'm only going to look for things within the BBC for now.
I think the point is looking between two domains, which you can only do unidirectionally. So you can only say what links from domain A to domain B, then you have to look at what links from domain B to domain A.
Yeah. So I mean, if you want, so if you really want to do that type of analysis, you've got to go to the derived data set, which is downloadable, which I was talking about earlier. Tim, you weren't here, but I talked a bit about this earlier on. That's actually a data set derived from all the content, which allows you to do it bidirectionally.
But you can do for example, use the URL field, right? There's a field called URL, which
Yes.
is ambiguous, but that means contains a URL to this.
No. It is that stuff from just that URL.
Just that URL.
Yeah.
So how is it different from the domain?
Well, it can be the same thing.
Oh, okay. I thought that was links to.
No. So if you search for bbc.co.uk, so if you filter on host, domain, and public suffix bbc.co.uk, you get everything in the BBC.
Okay.
If you put that in the URL field, you just get the homepage, or actually not the homepage, but in this context. And so doing it unidirectionally, Tim, I filtered for BBC. So let's see, so I could filter for everything in the BBC, everything returning string David Cameron in the BBC site that at the same time links to Facebook. So I can do that unidirectionally here, and then as Josh says, I need to do the same query in reverse.